welcome back. It's Shortstop Jackson on Real Estate and Money here on YouTube. And today we're going to talk about insurance. So, without further ado, let's get started. Insurance. We all got to love insurance. So, I'm not a big fan of insurance. Insurance is the product that you pay for and you hope never to use. And I myself really like to spend money on things I need and want. And insurance is not something that I want at all. We do need it. And in most cases, we have to have it. If you have any kind of a mortgage on your property, you're forced to have property insurance. And I certainly recommend insurance for rental properties. The number one reason that you need insurance is liability, liability, liability. In the litigious society that we live in today, where you have too many lawyers and not enough lawsuits, you always have to be nervous about liability with your rental properties. And almost everyone has had some kind of an experience with a lawsuit. They know a friend, or they had one themselves. They were in a car accident. They heard about a friend with a car accident. They all have heard and thought of the day that they get the $1 million settlement with a insurance company. So because of this, we have a lot of lawyers chasing around, spending a lot of time and energy suing people to make settlement claims with insurance companies to get a lot of money, and we as landlords need to protect ourselves from this. So the beauty of liability insurance is that liability insurance is actually pretty cheap. If you looked at the itemized cost of your insurance policy on your property, the liability will be not an expensive part of it. And that's a good thing, because you need the liability part. The expensive part of the policy is the property damage part, that's going to take care of any damages that happen to the property from rain or flood or hail or hurricanes and all those kinds of natural disasters and weather related incidents that can happen. Those are the things that cost the most for your insurance. And this is my own personal opinion, and I'm not an insurance agent, and I recommend that you make your own decisions. But my own personal opinion is those things are much cheaper and easier to fix and deal with than any kind of a liability lawsuit. So I believe personally we need high liabilities and low property damage insurance. One of the advantages, if you live in a HOA, or if your rental property is in an HOA, like a condo or something like that, where you pay dues monthly, the odds are very good that there is already some insurance on your property. Now, it may not be liability on your unit, and you need to check that, but the odds are very good that your roof and exterior of your building at least are often covered within the HOA responsibilities, dues, fees, and all of that. So in those cases, your insurance should be significantly less than if you owned a house and you were completely responsible for all of those replacement items in the event of a loss. So I'll give you an example. In Florida, so you have hurricane wind damage insurance, and it's usually like an additional separate rider. I used to have some condos there, and the hurricane insurance in Florida is extremely expensive, and it's a very high deductible. So even when you buy hurricane insurance, they're still going to have like a $5,000 or a $10,000 deductible. And especially if you're in a condominium, where theoretically the condominium complex has all of the insurance to secure the property, the exterior part of the property, you may not need hurricane insurance. And I would even say to you, in my case, I have a brother that's a roofer. And what typically happens in a hurricane damage is a new roof. And if a new roof costs $15,000 and my deductible is $10,000, we can all figure out that I'm not going to get a lot of money from that policy. And if it's an extra $1,000 a year to buy that policy, I'm probably not going to buy it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that if you need to understand what the policies are, what they cover, what the liabilities are, and what the options are. And basically, my philosophy is keep the insurance policy as cheap as possible, as affordable as possible, to keep my cash flow and income as high as possible. Now, that's my own philosophy. I'm not saying that you should adopt it, but I'm discussing why I make those decisions. So I am always looking for high deductibles with any kind of property damage, $1,000, $5,000, because most of the time I'm going to be able to fix that item and there's never going to be a claim, and it's not going to be a use of my insurance. The time that you're going to really use your insurance is generally for catastrophic losses. And I've never had one of those. I've never had a house burned down. 25 years in the rental business, I've never had a house burned down. I've had fires, had a fire on a property, and it did some damage, but it didn't burn the place down. And most of us, I would imagine, really haven't had a house burned down and may not even know someone who had their house burned down. Now, again, you want insurance, and if you have a mortgage, you're forced to have it. So you need to make these decisions on your own with your insurance agent and understand what you're doing. The other thing that I would say to you is when it comes to picking the values on the property for like a total loss, the insurance agents have charts, and they will put in your zip code and your address, and they'll spit out a number. Their computer somehow, or whatever chart they have, will spit out a number that they want to insure your property for. What I find about these numbers is that 9 times out of 10, those numbers are way higher than I believe are necessary. In other words, let's say I have a piece of property. Let's say I have a rental property that's worth $150,000, a rental house. It's worth $150,000. They're going to put in their numbers, they're going to punch them out, and they're going to say, okay, the replacement cost on this house is $143,000, $162,000. Whatever their number is that they're going to say is the replacement cost, that's what they want to do the insurance for. I say to myself, listen, it's worth $150,000. I owe $60,000 on the house, okay? And even if a hurricane came and took the house off the foundation and down the street and it was gone, I'm still going to own the property. I'm still going to own the water tap, the sewer tap, probably the foundation. And I'll be in a situation where I need to build back my house. So it may be that, again, if the property is worth $150,000 and I could build the thing back for $80,000, and nothing, not a fire, not a flood, not a hurricane, nothing is going to take away the land. Most things are not going to take away the foundation, and nothing is going to take away the water and sewer taps that are hooked into those services. Those are very valuable in most all locations. So what I'm saying to you is you may not need the values that their charts spit out at you. So let's say my insurance agent says, I want to insure it for $161,000, and I say I owe $60,000. I may say, you know what? I just want it insured for my $65,000 that I owe to the bank, and that's what I want. Give me a quote on both of those two insurance quotes. And if the one at the lower price is hundreds of dollars less per year, the policy, maybe it's $500 or $600 less, I might choose it. Again, you need to discover these things on your own and make your own investigations and your own decisions about those things. But what you need to know is that you can insure your property for less than their chart spits out. I just want you to know you can pick a lower number in most cases, and always you can always pick deductibles. How high you want to use is deductibles. The higher the deductibles, the cheaper the policy. So I want you to know those things. Hope it was helpful. Hope you learned something. Please push the like button. Please subscribe, and you'll get more notifications and videos like this in the future when I make them. Have a great day. Be a great landlord.